Welcome to Quilty Nest. I'm Tammy and I am glad you're here. Today I'm working on Back Quarter Shop Designer Mystery Block of the Month, and it's block number 2 or month number 2. The designer is Robin Pickens and it's called Eat, Sleep, Repeat. It is very cute. I love the little tomatoes and spools, and if you'll notice, there are directional prints, the blue here, in the middle here, the pink, and that's those little floral prints. So if directional prints bother you, if they're not pointed a certain way, then you'll want to pay attention to that when you're cutting. But for this block, just remember pieces F and I are directional, and pieces A, B, C, H, I, J, that's A, B, C, H, I, J. I cut those a 1/4 inch wider and a 1/4 inch longer, and I'm going to trim them down, and I'll show you what I mean by doing that during the video. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've got all my pieces cut out on my design board. Let's see if I can show it all. The first part we're working on is the tomatoes. We will snowball 2 left sides and 2 right sides. Of course, this fabric is not directional, so you can pick which sides you want to snowball. So I'm pleased with how my fabric looks. I'm not worried about the snowballs being on one corner versus the other, so I'm just gonna get it done. I don't know how y'all do your snowball corners, but when my pieces are this small, I'm fine with just eyeballing it through the presser foot from one corner diagonally to the other. If they're larger than this, I like to have some kind of marking or seam. What's that called? From Cluck Cluck Sew, I think they have diagonal seam tape, or my Lori Holt Seam So Easy shape. I don't have it up right now because I'm doing a lot of free motion quilting right now, so I've got this table up, and I'm just stopping long enough to get this block made because I need a change of pace. I'm tired of free motion quilting, and I got one more quilt to do. You'll stitch one on, trim it, flip it back, stitch the other one on, trim it and flip it back. And you've got to do these separately, as far as you can't stitch it down, and then flip and trim, because they overlap. So we will stitch one down, trim it and press it. Then we'll stitch this one down, trim it and press it, and it'll look like that. This is directional fabric, and if, again, you do your quilt the way you want to, but I'm going to make sure my flowers are pointing up. So I want my corners to be rounded up here. All right, let's get started. I want mine to overlap the same way. So I'm going to stitch the left on first, trim them, press them back, and then I'm going to stitch the right ones on second. If that doesn't bother you, you don't care if they overlap the same direction or not, then don't even worry about it. I am 100% in the You Are the Boss of Your Own Quilt Club. And a reminder, to just like the other ones, you want to pay attention to the direction you're making that line, so it turns out like this, because if we'd done it this way, it would have turned out kind of funky. Now I'm going to trim these and press them, and I'll be right back. I will trim these up if there's like a little excess to make these more square. This one turned out perfect. This one, if you'll notice, has a little overhang. Now we're going to build our tomato. I just want to shape them up because there are a few wonky edges. I'm just going to check these for wonkiness. I'm going to need 2 sides and 1 center. 2 sides and 1 center. There are no seams to match up, so that's good. I'll set my seam and press these. Looks good. There's what my back looks like. Now I'm going to stitch the other side on similar manner. Press my seams. Here are the tomatoes. Can I see imperfections in it? Yes. Am I okay with them? Absolutely. Pieces I and J to make the spool unit. 2 pieces go into each spool, and right now I'm wondering, did I cut in a second guess myself, y'all. The blue is directional. It's more of that tulip fabric. I'm going to place them in the order of the drawing in the directions. It goes like this. I just remembered I told y'all I added a 1/4 inch to my pieces, so I want to address that while I'm doing the spool block. And I went back and measured my tomatoes to make sure I had them the right size. I don't have to trim any down with the width, like the top to bottom. Side to side, it's a little over, so let me take a moment to do that. Typically, with strip pieces like this, I like to cut it a little larger and then trim down. Okay, these are the pieces we're going to use for our spool, and for the sides, I'm laying it out. Then I'm going to lay out my caps, my end caps, my spool caps, whatever you want to call them. Everything looks good, so now I'm going to get busy sewing. I need to sew these strips together first, keeping in mind I'm going to have to trim them down, looking at the measurements that they should be in my instructions once I get them stitched together. And I'm always keeping at the forefront of my mind the direction of those tulips to make sure I get them headed the right way. I'm pausing to make sure I'm putting them in the proper order because of that directional fabric. Okay, I've pressed the first sections and trimmed them down and stitched the second sections together and pressing them now, and then I'll give it a final trim. Okay, let's add the sides, which is piece C. I'm going to pin those down and stitch them up. And of course, I'm going to press each seam. Now these ends I've got to trim up because of course I made them a little longer and wider. So I'm going to shape those up. Let's add our end caps to the spools. Okay, these have been pressed, and now I'm going to shape them up, make sure the size looks good and the edges are all even. Time for piece A. One spool gets piece A on the left and one spool gets piece A on the right. So pay attention to the diagram in your instructions. I don't trust myself, so I'm double, triple checking for my directional fabric and making sure piece A is in the right side or on the right side. Let's press. Looking good. Everything's lining up right so far. Now to trim down the strips, because again, I made them a little wider and longer so I could trim down to make my block more accurate. Time for piece B. It goes at the bottom of one of the spools and the top of the other spool, so pay attention to your instructions because this is very important on which spool you put it on. Time to attach the tomatoes. Ran into some technical difficulties, but here's my finished block.